right, so far you guys have seen quadratics that might look something like this. Right? So this would be a parabola. All right? Anything with x squared is a quadratic function, and it graphs a parabola, right? So this is standard form that I just wrote down. When you see it like this, it's ax squared plus bx plus c. That's how we do the quadratic formula. That's how we factor something. That's how we complete the square. All right? And then we have what's called vertex form. Vertex form is really helpful when graphing. And we can actually go in between the two, which we're going to learn how to do next week. For now, everything is going to be in vertex form, and we're just going to learn why that helps us graph it. Okay, so definitely write that formula down. Y equals a, parentheses, x minus h squared plus k. So what each of these variables does, so the a determines the width of the parabola. Alright. So if you have like 4, anything above 1, it makes it more narrow. So it's like a skinnier parabola. But if you have something like 1/4, so any kind of fraction, then it makes it more wide. Okay? So a skinny parabola and then a wide parabola. Alright? So that's what A does. One other thing A does is determines if it opens up or down. So if it is positive, it opens up. And if it's negative, it opens down. All right, x minus h. So whatever's inside the parentheses, anything inside the parentheses shifts the graph to the right or the left. Whoops. All right, so if I have this right here, shifts right or left, and it's always the opposite. So if you have x plus 2 in parentheses, it shifts it left 2. If you have x minus 2 in parentheses, it shifts it right 2. All right, and then we've got plus k. This is going to shift it up or down. So if you have plus 5, that moves the parabola up 5. If you have minus 5, it moves the parabola down 5. All right, so the vertex is always h comma k. So wherever you shift the parabola, if it's like right 2, up 5, then your parabola is 2, 5. But it's always opposite for the h. So whatever is here, it's always opposite for just the h part of the vertex. And then we have the axis of symmetry, which splits the graph in half. So if you were to draw a parabola, the axis of symmetry is a dotted line that goes straight down the middle of the parabola. Okay, so it actually cuts it in half, and it is a line. So x graphs, right? Anything that's a vertical line. So it's always x equals the h part of the vertex, which we'll explain more in a minute. It will make more sense when we do a real problem. Okay? So go ahead and write that down. We have a parabola in vertex form. So y equals x plus 1 in parentheses squared minus 2. So it's already in vertex form. So the first thing we're going to write down is whether it opens up or down. Anybody have an idea of whether this one opens up or down? Brendan? Yes. So right here in front of the parentheses, it's positive. There's no negative sign. So since it's positive, it opens up, which means we have a parabola that opens up. It's going to go up. Okay? Then we have the vertex. Let's talk about the shifts first. Anything in parentheses inside here moves left or right, and it's opposite of this sign. So if it is plus 1, it's going to move left 1. And then I have a minus 2. This is going to shift down 2. So from the center, because that's where we start, we move left 1 because it says plus 1, that's opposite, and then down 2, and we put a point. That is the vertex of the parabola. So that coordinate point is -1, -2. All right, we know it opens up, so we can go ahead and draw our parabola opening up. Okay, these points I like to do. Any regular parabola that doesn't have a number in front always goes over 1, up 1 to the left, and then over 1, up 1 to the right, because 1 squared is 1. And then if you start here at the vertex, you can go over 2, and 2 squared is 4, so up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then from the vertex, you can go right 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4. This just makes it a really nice, pretty parabola. Whoa. Except for when you can't draw very well. Ooh, there we go. Okay, so I went left 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, and then I went left 2, up 4, right 2, up 4 from the vertex. All right, now we've got the axis of symmetry. So if you draw the axis of symmetry in, it just cuts the parabola in half. It's a dotted line, and it goes through the vertex. Okay? You have to write down the equation of the axis of symmetry. So the equation is x equals, where does it cut through the x-axis? -1. So the axis of symmetry is x equals -1. All right, now we have to do the x-intercepts and the y-intercepts. The y-intercept is super easy because you can look at the graph. Anybody know what the y-intercept is? Where does it cross the y-axis on the graph? Yeah, Scott. Right here. See? Right here? Y-intercept. So the y-intercept is 0, -1. That was easy. Now the x-intercepts, I don't know exactly where they are. Somewhere like here and here, right? We can see that it's crossing the x-axis, but we need to find them. So to find the x-intercepts, we take the equation and we plug in 0 for y, because the x-intercepts are always when y equals 0. So I have 0 equals x plus 1 squared minus 2. So I just rewrote the equation, but I plugged 0 in for y, and we're going to solve it. So we're going to add 2 to both sides, right? So 2 comes over here. And then we're going to square root both sides to get rid of the squared term. Now, anytime you take a square root, what do you have to remember? Plus and minus. Root 2 equals x plus 1. All right, and then subtract the 1 over. So it actually crosses at 1 plus the square root of 2 and 1 minus the square root of 2. If you wanted to find the exact coordinates, you could get a calculator out and do that on your calculator. So 1 point whatever, 2 point whatever, okay? So let's put it in here. My x-intercepts would be 1 plus root 2, comma, 0, and 1 minus root 2, comma, 0. Okay, and then we have the D. The D stands for discriminant. You might want to write that in your notes, like what the D means. I'm just putting D, but it is the discriminant. So remember we learned if the discriminant is positive, then it has 2 x-intercepts. If the discriminant is negative, it has no x-intercepts. And if the discriminant is 0, it has 1 x-intercept, right? So for this one, how many times did it cross the x-axis? Twice. So the discriminant has to be positive, and that's all you have to write down, is that the discriminant is either positive, negative, or 0. And since it crosses twice, it has to be a positive discriminant. Okay? So that's everything we need for a parabola. Let's try another one. So this time we have a negative in front of the parentheses. All right, so Kayla, what do you think? Opens up or down? Okay, good. We have a negative in front, so it opens down. Kevin, what do you think the vertex is?
It goes up 3. Or not, or across 3.
There we go. So if it's inside the parentheses, it's right or left. And this one's minus, so it's we do the opposite. So it's right 3.
And then plus
and up 2. Okay? So that means we have a vertex of positive 3, 2. So it's always opposite here, same here. So let's go ahead and draw our graph. We have 3, 2, and we have a vertex. Okay, and let's go ahead and do the parabola. It's opening down. So this time when you put your points on the graph, start here, but we go down. So we're going to go right 1, down 1. And then from this point, right 1, down 1. And then from this point, left 2, down 4. And from this point, the vertex, right 2, down 4. We get a beautiful parabola. Okay, drawing the axis of symmetry, so cut the parabola in half right here. And Daniel, what is the equation of the line of the axis of symmetry?
X equals 3.
Good. X equals 3 because it goes through 3 on the x-axis. Okay, this one, the y-intercept. Is the y-intercept on our graph? No. It might be if we kept graphing points, but we don't really see it. So this one, pay attention because we didn't do this last time. If you want to find the y-intercept, you can just plug in 0 for x. So come up here and plug 0 in for x. And we can pretty much do this in our head, right? What's 0 minus 3? And what's negative 3 squared? Positive 9. But then there's a negative in front. So that's negative 9. And then plus 2. So what's that? Negative 7. So our y-intercept is 0, negative 7. So it's actually somewhere down here. Okay? We kind of add it on to the bottom of our graph. Okay, x-intercepts. For the x-intercept, we have to plug 0 in for which variable? For y. So somewhere off to the side, wherever you have space, we're going to plug 0 in for y. And we're going to find our x-intercepts. So you guys Alright, so here's one that's a little different. Y equals 2x squared plus 4. So make sure you write this one down. So Devin opens up or down? Up. Yep. We have a positive 2, so it's going to open up. Okay. Are there any parentheses here? No, we don't have any parentheses. So if you want it to look like this, that would be the same thing. There's nothing being added or subtracted as far as the h part of the vertex for your h, comma, k. So the vertex, anybody know what it is? It is 0, 4. Okay? It only shifts up 4. There's no shift left or right because there's no parentheses. So my vertex would be 0, 4. So you go ahead and put a point at 0, 4, and we know it's going to open up, so we can graph it. Now, this one has a 2 in front of the x squared. What does that mean about the parabola? Yeah, it's more narrow. It's like skinnier. So remember how I did 1, 1? Now we're going to do 1, 2. So over 1, up 2. Over 1, up 2. And that's good enough to get a skinnier parabola. Those points, you guys, I would like you to do them. I don't know how picky we're going to be. Those little points that I put on there. It definitely needs to be a narrower parabola, though. Okay, and then we've got the axis of symmetry, cutting it in half. So Peyton, what's the equation of the axis of symmetry? 1 right now, right? Do we have any x-intercepts? No, no x-intercepts. Do we have a y-intercept? Yeah, right? We have a y-intercept. So Zach, what would the y-intercept be?
4,
0,
0.
4, right? Same as the vertex. All we did was move up 4 and it crosses the y-axis here, so my y-intercept is 0, 4. You could also get 0, 4 if you plug 0 in for x, you get 4, right? The other way to do the other ones, the x-intercepts, is if I plug 0 in right here for y, we would subtract 4, and we would divide by 2, and then we would be taking the square root of a negative number. So if you start solving and you get the square root of a negative number, what does that mean about the x-intercepts? There are none, right? Which you can tell from the graph. But if you solve it, plugging 0 in for y, you will get a negative root, so your x-intercepts are none. It does not cross the x-axis. So this changes the discriminant, because the discriminant was positive when it crossed twice. So Connor, what do you think the discriminant will be if it doesn't cross at all? Not none. The discriminant is either positive, negative, or 0. Yeah, it'll be negative. Okay, so if it doesn't cross the x-axis, you have a negative discriminant. Yeah, Scott?
0.
We will do one that is 0, I'm pretty sure here. Oh, this one. Okay, let's try this one. Alright, y equals x minus 2 squared. Sorry, this is so long. Good thing your problem set is kind of short. Okay, Abby, opens up or down? Good, it's positive in front of the parentheses, so it opens up. For the vertex, there's only one shift here, right? So it's inside these parentheses, it's minus 2. So if it's inside the parentheses, it shifts left or right, and it's always opposite. So Claire, which way do you think it shifts if we have x minus 2 in the parentheses? It's always opposite, so this would actually be right 2. Okay? And then are we adding anything to the k part, to the outside? So does it shift up or down at all? No. So we're going to shift right 2, and we're going to put a point. So Scott, what's the vertex?
2, 0.
Okay. 2, 0. So we can go ahead and do our points. There's no number in front here, so we have our normal graph of left 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, left 2, up 4, right 2, up 4. And we do our parabola. Go ahead and draw the axis of symmetry. And Brendan, what's the equation for the axis of symmetry? Good. X equals 2. So you can either get it from looking at the graph, or you can look here. It's always opposite of that. X equals 2. Put it in parentheses. Okay, y-intercept is actually pretty easy to find because we graphed it. So that's nice. So Michaela, what's the y-intercept? That would be the x-intercept. What would the y-intercept be? Good. Okay, so how many x-intercepts do we have? 1. So if we have 2, the discriminant is positive. If we have none, the discriminant is negative. And if we have 1 x-intercept, the discriminant is 0. Okay, so the discriminant is 0 for that last part. Okay, I think this is the last one. Example problem. Sorry. Hanging in there. Okay, Brennan, opens up or down?
Down.
Down. Vertex. Kayla, what's the vertex? Nice. -3, -1. Opposite, same. -3, -1, put a point. down, and we have a 1/2 in the front. So the 1/2 does what to this parabola? It is wider. So instead of going over 1, down 1, because we're going down, we would go over 1, down 1/2. Right? 1 down 1/2. And the next step is 2, 4. Normally we do 2, 4 from the vertex. It's going to be 2, 2, because it's half of that second number. So if you want to do this point, left 2, down 2, right 2, down 2. Again, not sure how picky I will be, but you definitely need a wider, parabola. Hard to do on this board, I promise you. Okay, drawing your axis of symmetry. So Kevin, what's the equation of the axis of symmetry?
X equals
Good. X equals -3. Okay. Probably going to have a y-intercept. Hard for me to tell exactly what it is. So we're going to have to find it. So to find the y-intercept, Max, what do I plug 0 in for to find the y-intercept?
X.
Good. So we're going to plug 0 in for x. So what is 3 squared? 9. Then we'd have times -1/2, so -9/2. Then we're subtracting 1, so -2/2, which is -11/2, which is -5.5 right here. Okay, so kind of crossed right there. So I have 0, -11/2, or if you want to put -5.5, that's fine. Okay, do we have any x-intercepts, you guys? No, it does not cross the x-axis, which means that the discriminant is